Sanbonani, I'm Tulufelo Tulare from Gtac, from the Strategy Management Unit. Welcome to yet another Friday Fundanati session as we continue to celebrate the Heritage Month and just to also embrace our cultures as well. Today, at least I tried to put some, accessory also to be relevant to the situation. But most importantly, we're here to also learn about, the personal financial management and debt management rather, and also just to alienate those expectations and some of the things that we go through as on individual basis. We need to understand that, as much as we work within the finance family, within the Gtac and the National Treasury space, it comes with a bit of a personal pressure from the society to say you working in a finance space, so you need to be more accountable as well. People are expecting that on your personal finances, you manage them well. We can't manage our personal finances like we're accounting on the Public Financial Management Act. But most importantly, colleagues, with that said, we have our guests from the Health First and who will be introducing our presenter from the Old Mutual. Colleagues, this will be more insightful session considering the economic state and also the changes that we go through and in terms of the interest rate, the repo rates, and all those things that people experience on daily basis. Colleagues, before I hand over to our service provider to introduce our presenter, you will note that this session is recorded and it can be available as well to the Gtac staff to ensure that we can go back and have more referrals on what would have been presented today. And over and above, I'm gonna hand over to Mr. Alfred Tabanyedza. He is the executive clinician and EA specialist researcher, and also he is a PhD candidate in UKZN. He's working or focusing on the human health aspect. Ndayandun, over to you. Over to you. You can introduce our presenter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tulufelo, for the brief introduction. I would like to introduce for today, as you know, Health First is your health partner in terms of health education, health promotion. And today's session is going to be presented by my colleague from our partner, Old Mutual. Her name is Julian Mangaba. Julian is basically a seasoned learning leader for the Old Mutual Financial Education in Gauteng. And she has been with the company for over 22 years and has obviously occupied several positions in different provinces nationally. She holds a BA in education through Vista University and has continuously studied for various modules throughout her career. She's also a qualified assessor and moderator, and has also, obtained marketing research certificate from UNISA. She holds an honors in education, and her dream basically is to obtain a master's degree before turning 50. Julian has facilitated a number of, educational sessions on personal finance. She's also a wife, a mother of 3 girls, and is very passionate about financial literacy and changing people's bad financial habits. So Lufela has indicated that being part of yourselves, being part of the National Treasury Gtac, a lot of you do have the, financial knowledge, but in a number of studies that we have also conducted as Health First, we are finding that, the very same people who have the, academic qualifications or who hold positions in the financial sector, services sector, and public sector are highly affected in terms of, personal finance and debt management. Besides doing her 9-to-5 job, Julian is also, a gym fanatic, and she loves cooking and traveling. And, as you all know, the impact of, COVID-19, Julian's lessons that she has learned from the COVID-19 pandemic was that, I quote, I should choose myself, close quote. And her motto, I quote, whatever I start, I should see to finish. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Julian Mangaba. And Julian, as indicated, you've got less than an hour to present the session. Thank you very much. Over to you, Julian.
Thank you so much for this opportunity given to me this afternoon. And I really appreciate Gtac Tsholofelo for inviting us as well so that we can come and empower the people on how to manage their finances as well. So I will actually be projecting on my end, just indicate if my presentation is showing. I thought I should show my face before I start with my presentation so that the people that are attending, they get to put the face to the voice as well. And I will then be closing my face. Don't want to find myself struggling here. So please indicate if my presentation is on slide mode.
Yes, we can see your
slide
presentation.
mode, Julian, and you may proceed. Thanks.
Thank you. I guess we all aware that yesterday the Reserve Governor, Lesetja Kganyago, has actually hiked the repo rate, which actually is affecting a lot of us now going forward. And the most affected people are the poor people as well. So today I am going to take you through on this presentation on how to manage your finances. And it's about the big 5 secrets of money management. And these are the big 4 consumer threats that we are all faced with. The first one being the rising fuel and transport, electricity, food, and interest rate. Very important that if we are all faced with these big 4, what are some of the things that we are going to be doing differently so that we are able to cap, or how are we going to fasten our seat belts so that we are able to take off despite the challenges that we are all faced with as well. And based on that as well, I thought maybe I should also come and share the impact of financial constraints in the workplace. Very important that we should understand that the following things that I'm going to be sharing with you now are what we call the financial constraints that we are all faced with in our workplaces. And if we don't address them, they can actually affect the company as well and as an individual as well. So one of the things that we are all aware of is that if people are going through financial difficulties, the first one is what we call absenteeism or presenteeism. And that's what we see as a constraint. A lot of people will be at work but not working and just being there. We call that presenteeism. You are there but not delivering because you are actually faced with financial difficulties. And sometimes a lot of people will find themselves taking, being absent at work. Another constraint is sick leave abuse. We have seen a rise of people when they are really faced with financial difficulties, they abuse sick leave. They're constantly taking sick leave while they are not even sick. Another constraint, it might be resigning to cash in their pension fund. A lot of time when people are faced with difficult financial difficulties, the solution that they think is a solution is of cashing out their pension fund. And, when you cash out your pension fund, there are tax implications on that as well. So it's very important that we should be aware of these constraints as well. Another one is fraud and theft. When people, they are working in an organization where there are things that can be stolen, when they are going through financial difficulties, they start stealing. If a person is working in a shop where they are selling perfumes, the perfumes will start disappearing when they are going through financial difficulties. And again, we probably might see a lot of corruption as well that might be coming through as well when people are really going through financial difficulties. And sometimes we see, workplace accidents. If a person is working with machines and they are going through financial difficulties, they might be absent-minded and then end up cutting themselves instead of cutting whatever that needs to be cut at work as well. The other one, it's low productivity levels. When people are really faced with financial difficulties, you find them not being productive at work, and that might also even affect the team morale. If you are working with someone who's not productive and they are actually throwing all their toys out of court as well, it affects the team if there should be teamwork as well. And then another element that gets to be affected is the health problem. When people are faced with financial difficulties, they are stressed. Now, health and finances, they go hand in hand. So if you don't manage your finance, it might affect your health as well. High blood will come, sugar as well, all those sicknesses, even if they run in the family, when you are really going through financial difficulties, they might come out sooner than later. And another impact that we have seen is depression and anxiety. A lot of people, when they are really frustrated at work, they fall into depression as well, and that also affects them as well. And we have seen some people abusing alcohol, taking drugs because of the fact that they are going through financial difficulties. Another element, it might be aggression. A person that has got financial difficulties, like I spoke earlier on, they throw out their toys out of the court. Even at work, when your supervisor said, this report, you did not do it correctly, go and redo. When a person is going through financial difficulties, they forever in a fighting mode. And that is a sign that these people are going through financial difficulties. And we also see the cognitive reduction as well. So it's very important that in an organization, when a company sees such, they need to come up with a solution of saying, maybe we need to take these people on a financial well-being program, because people that are informed, they are able to perform better as well. So within Old Mutual, we've got this program that we call On the Money, is about the big five. So I am going to show you with the big five so that you are able to live your best life. Now, these big five, they appear on the money that we use on our daily basis. Before I continue, let me check if the people that I have on the call, they do know the big five, because we say the program is On the Money, is about the big five. Now, these big five, they appear on the money. Now, which animal is on the 10 rand? Do you guys know which animal is on the 10 rand? Any volunteer?
It's a rhino.
It's a rhino. So the rhino is on the 10 rand. Now you will know what is the secret of the rhino. The 20 rand? Which one is on the 20 rand? 20 rand is an elephant. The 50 rand is a lion. The 100 rand is a buffalo. And the 200 is a leopard. Now, the lion says you need to be fearless like a lion and take control of your money. The elephant is about pay attention like an elephant, know your income, check your expenses, and make informed choices. The middle one that says charge down your debt like a rhino, don't let your debt run your life. And then the leopard is about focusing on your goal like a leopard when it stalks its prey. And then the buffalo says protect and grow your wealth. Now, the objective of this presentation is to learn about how we can break old habits and establish new ones. Everything that I'm going to be saying to you today is about habits. There are so many bad habits that people have that make them not to have money. We're also going to learn about how to charge down our debts. We're also going to learn about how to protect our assets and grow our investments. Now, I will unpack the first animal, which is a lion. Now, let's talk about lions as animals. Do you know how they hunt? They hunt in packs. Normally, you'll find one dominant male, 3 females, and the cubs, and then we call it a pride. Most of the time, they say the lioness will do the hunting. But do you know when the female lion catches the prey, who always eat first? When the lioness catches the prey, if it's a springbok, who always eat first? Anyone?
The male one.
The male one always eat first. Is it because he's the boss? It has nothing to do with the boss or being the head of the family. Remember, out there in the jungle, if there's any danger, the the male lion must be strong enough to be able to protect the whole pride. So the reason the male lion always eats first is not about being the king, is not about being the boss of the family, but it's making sure that he gets good portions so that he can be very strong, because when he is strong, he will be able to protect the whole pride. Now, how does that apply when it comes to money? It says each and every person who has a source of income, when it's month end, you must be a lion and eat first. A lot of people, they do eat first when it's month end. Those that are getting paid on the 25th, like today, maybe they got paid. A lot of people on that payday, if it falls on a Friday, they don't want to work. They want to knock off early because they got paid. They behave like payday millionaires. And then they go and spend their money tomorrow and Sunday. They come back on Monday. They're back to square one, broke again. What was the excitement? We need to treat payday as one of the normal working days. Because for as long as you work, there will always be payday. For as long as you leave, there will always be Christmas as well. So the secret of the lion says you need to pay yourself by saving first. You see, if you've been working and it's been 10 years and you don't have 10,000 rand saved anywhere, the question might be, what have you been doing the whole time? Because if you are working every month, when you get paid, you pay other people. You need to understand that the people that you are paying on a monthly basis, they're getting strong while you are getting weak. And we said the secret of the lion says you need to pay yourself first so that you can be strong. And the right way of paying yourself, like I said, is to save first. Not to go out and spend your money. You know, I am from a village outside Hammanskraal, very far outside Hammanskraal. It's called Nokaneng. Now, when I was growing up, my father used to say, for every child that goes to school, come December, you need to produce a report that will tell whether are you progressing at work, at school, or you're going to be retained. Meaning that every year we needed to bring a report from school. Now, when we started working, he said to us, the same principle will still apply. In December, I'm expecting you to bring a report from work. Now, surely Gtac doesn't give you a report every year. Now, do you think Old Mutual gives me a report? Definitely not. So what is it that he's expecting me to be bringing? The question that he would ask me, how much do you have? If I have worked in my first year and December, I have nothing. He will say to me, in the whole year that you've been working, you have nothing in December. It means you have failed yourself. You were doing grade 1 when it comes to finances. And if you have nothing, it will mean that next year you will still be in the same grade, which is grade 1. Now, the question that I want to ask people that are on the call is, what grade are you in as far as your finances are concerned? Because if you've been working and it's been 10 years, you should be in grade 10. If it's been 20 years, you should be a graduate for that matter of a PhD when it comes to money. So I'm asking you that question so that you can start checking what is it that you have? What is it that you can look back and point as to say, this is what I have achieved so far? Now, the second one is about the secret of the elephant. It says, pay attention. We all know that elephants, they say they never forget, but we are human beings, we easily forget. And for us not to forget, what must we do? We need to write down. When we write down, when it comes to money, what is that? That is budgeting. We all know that we need to budget, but we find people doing it up in their heads. You will find a person say, I'm out of budget. Well, they've never done it. There are those people that they will draw it nicely and they put it there and then they do the opposite. Some people, they even say it does not add up. If you get to a point where your budget does not add up, you must understand that you are either living beyond your means. You are either budgeting on the gross instead of the net. So we'll unpack more on that as well. Now, the secret of the rhino as an animal is a very peaceful animal. But when it's confronted by danger, it charges. We need to charge our debts head on. Don't swear at the people that you are owing. Don't ignore them. Don't avoid them. You were enjoying when they were selling things to you. So when it's month end, you need to make sure that you pay them. You go and pay them head on. You know, you be like a rhino, charge your debts head on. Don't let your debt run your life as well. And we will also unpack more on that as well. Now, the next one, which is the secret of the leopard. Leopards as animals, they don't hunt like lions. They hunt alone. And where do they eat their prey? I guess you all know that a leopard will only hunt also when it's hungry, and it will carry its prey up on top of the tree. So surely it will not hunt a giraffe. It will not hunt an elephant because it will be too heavy for it to carry it up the tree. But human beings, we are the opposite. We hunt giraffes. We hunt elephants. And when we realize that we cannot carry those elephants up the tree, we look back and we check, who can I blame for this elephant that I'm carrying? And then most of the time, we never blame ourselves. We shift the blame. We're going to start saying, Gtac is not paying me enough money. But Gtac was never there when you went and bought that double door fridge that you are now struggling to pay. So it's very important that before you buy anything, test the weight of the item. And by testing the weight, I'm not literally saying that people must carry things, but you check your salary, you check the car that you want to drive, to buy, so that you can see whether will you afford to buy the car with this salary. And if we do things that way, we will not find ourselves complaining, because we will know very well that with the salary that I'm earning, I have made sure that I carry things that I need to be able to carry up the tree. So the leopard, it all says we need to be smart. And what we mean by smart, whatever that you want, it must be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and have a time frame. Don't say I'm getting married. You know, you've been staying with this woman, fat and sad, and not paying any lobola, but you are saying, I'll pray, God will help me. One day I will pay lobola. Let me tell you, God will only help you if you help yourself. So for that to happen, you need to put money aside. So the buffalo is about protecting. And the buffalo, they are famous of three things. They protect one another, they are patient, and they grow their numbers. Opposite of human beings. Human beings, we don't protect our life, we don't protect our assets, and we are not patient. When they say invest your money, you'll get a payout after 10 years. What do we say? Yo, 10 years, I'll be dead. But if someone comes and say there's a place in Midrand, they say when you've got 5,000, after 2 weeks it's 10,000. You will see, even those who don't have 5,000 will even go and borrow 5,000 and take it to that place. After 2 weeks, when they come back to Midrand where they left the 5, the place is written to let. They've left with your money. So if something is too good to be true, then it is. So the buffalo says, protect your life, protect your assets, and learn to be patient, because patience is a virtue of success. Now, let's have a look on some of the things that influence how we make our money decisions. Some of us, we are influenced by our family. You find a person say, I am working, so the reason I am actually buying or spending money on such things is because I've got family. I need to take care of my family. Or I've got extended family members. We call it black tax. You know, if you've got people that you are taking care of as well, they need to understand, you know, share with them so that they know what you can afford and what you cannot afford. Because if you've got kids that are constantly asking for things that you cannot afford, but you go and buy for them, you know, you spend money that you don't have. Are you aware that you are creating a problem for yourself, because you will be creating debt for them later on in life? When you are no longer able to afford to buy for them, they will now start, you know, taking drugs and stealing as well, and you would have created that platform for them as well. If you've got family members that you are taking care of and they are based in Limpopo, they need to know that you are getting paid once a month. When you send them that money every month, they also need to learn to save from the little that you are giving. Now, you might be asking, how much are you supposed to be saving every month? You need to save 10% of your salary. You know, work out that 10%. And if it's not easy for you to start with that 10% now, write down a realistic figure that you are going to start off with. Because let me tell you, if the family members you are sending, whenever they call you, they say we've got a problem, and you go and borrow money to attend to their problem, let me tell you, they will make more problems for you. You will constantly find yourself addressing their problems, and then because they know you are in Gauteng, you will make a plan, they will make more problems. Another thing that influences how we make our money decision, it's advertising. You know, you need to understand how advertising, you know, they use the AIDA model. They grab your attention, you get to be interested, they created that desire, and then what do? You go and buy. Do you know the reason why our retail shops, they put, you know, when you walk in at Edgar's Fortune, they put their pay points right at the back. Why? Because they also did marketing. You leave home saying, I'm going to pay my account. As you walk in from the door of Edgar's, what do you see? clothes, sale, red hanger. By the time you get to the back, you are already holding things. Ladies, how many times have you found yourself walking at Pick and Pay with the intention of buying 2 things? The next thing when you walk out, you are pushing a trolley. Your food stores, your Pick and Pays and your ShopRite, they put their pay points right at the door because they say you must.
Julian, you are muted.
How
Thank
long
you.
have I been muted?
No, it's just three seconds. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Advertising as well, ladies. So when you go shopping, if the intention is to buy 3 things, tell yourself that I'm working at Pick and Pay. I'm going to buy 3 things as well. We are approaching November. You will see Black Friday coming up. It's not a problem if you're going to be spending money to buy that fridge because you've been saving for it. But it becomes a problem if you are going to use credit to buy that item because you have not saved anything. You're going to buy that item on credit. You're going to pay double the item as well. It will be like you bought 1 fridge, but you paid for 2. Where is the other one? You have donated with the other one. So another thing that also influences our money decision is social media. We are living so much of fake lives. You know, you find yourself being invited to an event. The dress code is all white. You have an outfit that is white. Why put yourself under pressure and go and buy an outfit that is all white because you feel that one you have posted? Let me tell you, when people are all dressed in the same color, they all look the same. So it's very important that we should not find ourselves being influenced by social media. Some of us, we are influenced by friends that we hang around with. You know, you find all your friends, they are going to conquer. Just because you want to be with them, whether you afford to conquer or not, you want to be with them. You go and conquer with a credit card. Come Monday, you are owing just because you wanted to be with them, whether it's the case or not. You see, it's not a problem. It's very important that we need to understand, because when we understand things that influence how we make our money decisions, we will actually be informed and we'll actually be able to know that advertising, I will not fall for that trap. Instead, what do I do? Perhaps maybe the solution might be, instead of going when you know you are going to pay, rather pay them online. Avoid being there because you know that you've got a problem of taking things when they are on sale. So have a way on how you're going to manage and how you are also going to address these things that influence how you make your money decisions. Let me move along. And also very important that we also need to know how to talk to our family, especially about money. You know, we all know that money is an emotional topic, but you need to stay calm. You know, a family that's safe together stays together. The reason why in South Africa we have a high rate of divorce and suicidal, most of the time you find that maybe it's GBV, but also financial issues as well. You find the husband doing his own thing, the wife as well. Later on, when they are swimming in debt, they start pointing fingers at one another. So it's very important that we need to discuss issues around finances. We need to have those family imbizos where we discuss issues around finances. I have done sessions where I would hear ladies saying, you know, I never had financial. Actually, most gentle brothers, they will say, my sister, I never had financial problems when I was still single. My problems started after I got married to the wife that I have now. And then you start asking yourself, what went wrong? You find that as a gentle brother, you were spoiling this woman with money that you did not have, you know, using a credit card to impress her. Now that she got used to that kind of a lifestyle, you marry her. She wants to continue living the same standard of life. Now you want to be real. So it's very important that we should not be buying love as gentle brothers as well. Whenever you know that you cannot afford, let it be open to say, you know what, this I cannot afford. So it's very important that we should understand that God gave women a skill. You know, if a lady, I meet a gentle brother, I'm not yet married, we start dating. When you meet me as a gentle brother, I've got my hair done. When we start dating, when I ask money to do my hair month end, you must start asking yourself, who did the hair before you came into the picture? That is the question that you need to ask yourself, because sometimes you might end up blessing me while you are not blessed. So it's very important that before you bless the next person, bless yourself first as a gentle brother, because women can actually build a double story with your own money while you walk with shoes with no soles underneath. So it's very important that we need to understand and know how we can actually engage, especially when it comes to finances as well. Now, I spoke about advertising. I said they use the AIDA model. How does the AIDA model work? You know, when they say, welcome to Elizabeth City, things go better with Coke. Already they've grabbed your attention if you are with that catchy slogan. And then what do? You go and buy you take the action of buying, but you are not there for that thing as well. So it's very important that we need to understand how advertising work, because once we get this right, we will know that they are just triggering you so that you can start spending money on things that you are not there for as well. Now, one other thing that I want to touch on is that COVID-19, you see, the pandemic has taught us South Africans the importance of income diversification. I guess not only as the global village as a whole, COVID-19 we got to realize that relying on one source of income, it's no longer the future. Hence, it's very important that if you are on this call, there is something that you've been doing, but you've been doing it just as a hobby. We need to start monetizing our hobby. If you are good with maths, you are good with accounting, why are you not offering tutorials to students and let the parents pay you for that? For as long as whatever that you are doing is not in conflict with your job, you are allowed. So if you earn a salary, see whether you can start a side hustle. Invest some of that money, some of your salary to earn a return. Within Old Mutual, we had a lady that started during the hard lockdown. She actually, a lot of people got to realize a lot of things about themselves. We discovered ourselves. Some people got to realize that they are married to wrong people. Some people got to realize that they actually had skills that they were not even aware of as well. This lady started doing some sources, giving them out for free, and later on when people came back and they wanted more, she realized that there's a gap. People, they love this. Let me start selling them. As we speak, she's now supplying one of the biggest retail stores as well. She's now a supplier out there as well. All of us, we are all born with entrepreneurial skills. Start checking what is it that you can do, because if you are only relying on your salary only, you are still left behind. We need to start checking what is it that I can do and have multiple sources of income as well. Like I said, it is allowed as long as it's not in conflict with your job. You can do it. There are 3 types of savings that one must have. Everyone must have the now money. Everyone must have the dream money. Everyone must have the future money. Now, what is the now money? Money for your emergency fund. Should you lose your job, you are supposed to be able to survive on your reserves for the next 3 to 6 months as if you are still working. The problem with people is that we live on a prepaid mode. Every month we wait for payday. 2 days after payday, we're waiting for the next payday because it comes in, it goes out. We don't have any emergency money, any emergency fund. And I guess COVID-19 as well, it's one of the things where we realize how important it is to have an emergency fund. When you wake up in the morning, you start your car and it's an automatic and the battery is dead. You can't push it. You need to have money to replace the battery. If you don't have any money, you go and borrow money to replace the battery. And then you need to understand that you are fixing a problem with a problem. You'll have double problems. So you need to have money readily available. If they say your mother has passed away, it is an emergency, but you need to have a plan for that. You must either have a funeral plan, some sort of money to bury your mother. If you don't have any funeral plan, no money to bury your mother, you can't cry the whole week. You need to bury your mother over the weekend. If you go and make a loan, you bury her on a loan, and then you start paying back the loan next month for 3 years. For the next 3 years, while you are paying back the loan, you must know that you are still at your mother's funeral. So you'll only be saying she's resting in peace when you pay the last installment. We need to have dream money. If you want to get married, you need to put money aside for lobola. We know in our culture, Black people, you need to pay lobola. Now, if you are going to marry her with lobola, with a loan, and you marry her in community of property, it's as good as she married herself. So it's very important that you need to have that dream money to cover your goal-driven goals, money for the future as well, which we call it retirement savings, money that will cover your living expenses when you retire. You see, the only thing that changes when people go on pension is the fact that they don't have to wake up in the morning and go to work. The rest remains the same. So you need to have money that will cover your living expenses when you retire. And so that when you go on pension, you don't become firstborn of your own kids. Very important. Because if you are going to be saying to your kids, I've sacrificed everything for you, my kids. Now that I'm on pension, you must now take care of me. You must understand that you are now blackmailing your kids. You are now expecting to become a big baby for them. You know, now you are on pension because you did not cover and save enough money. Now you want them to take care of you. Very important that we need to take care of that element as well. Take control of your finances. You need to set up a budget. Very important. Know how much money is coming in. When you budget, use your net, not your gross. The gross is not what you are getting paid. Because if you use the gross, it means you are living beyond your means. Step number 2, figure out what money, where is your money going out? Figure out what money is going out, where is it going? You know, categorize your expenses. We're not saying people should not enjoy their money. But again, you can't say I drink every weekend if you are drinking, whether sweet or sour. You know, you write down how much you drink. If you drink that amount on your first weekend and then you finish it, what must happen for the next 3 weekends? It's for you to stay sober because your budget is done. Or you must drink other people. So you also stick to your budget. If you've got money that you've allocated for any expense, stick to it as well. Now, the next one is to monitor your budget as well. Now you can start monitoring to say, you know what, times are tough. Instead of maybe driving and using this car, there are times where people drive where they can actually walk to the place instead of driving because you are wasting petrol as well. So find some other ways when you start monitoring, because when you start monitoring, you'll actually get to realize what are some of the things that I can cut further. Because sometimes there are people that might even budget on you. You know, if I were to ask you on the call, do you all know how much you spend on airtime? There are people that are wasting a lot of money on airtime because they've got, you know, they are on contract. There are people that are budgeting on you. They know you've got money on your phone. They will send you a please call. You call them, they talk while you listen on your airtime. So it's very important that we need to also make sure that we find ourselves not being budgeted by other people as well. And having to find the right bank account is very important, because when you shop around for an account with the lowest fees as possible, it's very important. Because when you have that account, if I were to ask you, do you all know how much you spend on your bank charges? And this is where we can actually start cutting down, because we need those little 100 rands, the 10 rands, and whatever the amount that you can actually save. Sometimes you find people banking with an account because maybe they say, no, I've been banking with them because, you know, my parents were banking with this bank. Maybe sometimes they gave you a color card that commands respect. When you are taking it out, people think you've got a lot of money. You know, if I'm banking with a bank where I'm paying 50 rand and you are paying 500 rand, they gave you a bundle. Start asking yourself, are you utilizing all the benefits that you have in that account? And I always say to people, you'll only get to realize that the bank that you've been married to yourself with your family was never married to you. When you want something, you walk in, they say, sorry, decline. That's when you'll realize that they were never married to your family. So please make sure that you open an account where you are able to save money and you are also able to have an emergency fund created in that account. Now, in your organization, you actually have the 3 A's. You analyze, you assess, you activate. Right now, let me share with you that for you to manage your expenses, you can implement the 3 R's, right? And these are reduce, reuse, replace. What can you reduce? You can reduce consumption on airtime. You can reduce consumption on drinking. Anything that can be reduced. What can you reuse? You can reuse, you know, like your margarine container, when it's finished, you can reuse that container as a lunchbox. You know, it's not about the container, it's about the content. Then we say replace one product with a cheaper alternative. What can you replace? When times are tough, we spoke about the 3 consumer threads. You know, the food is one of them as well. When times are tough, you can actually replace your tasty rice with Wellington brand or no name brand. So it's very important that you need to start applying these 3 R's, because when you apply them, they will help you manage your expenses. Distinguish between good and bad debts. Clearly, for you to manage your debt, You know, you need to know, what kind of debts do I have? The bad ones, they typically high in cost and they drain your wealth. Things like buying food on account. You know, Woolies food, it's nice and fresh, right? But if you are buying the food on credit, on account, it's a bad debt. You know, borrowing money from one creditor to pay another one, it's a bad debt. You know, there are people that are actually having 2 credit cards. The other one is paying the other one. Actually, you are actually living beyond your means. Buying a luxury car or going on a holiday that you cannot afford, it's a bad debt. If you are on this call and you are probably sometimes saying, my car is consuming a lot of petrol, you must understand that you probably bought a car that is too big for your salary. So it's very important that we need to make sure that we actually understand what types of debts do we have. Have more of the good ones, you know, the ones that improve your financial position. They build your wealth, like taking an account to study further, you know, you'll get a qualification. Having a bond, you know, an asset. Very important that we need to accumulate more of assets than liabilities. We should stop buying Mini Coopers and parking them under the tree. It's a bad debt, you know. Business loan is a good debt because, you know, when you are able to pay them back, the business is growing, you will have money coming in as well. So it's very important that when you are all on this call, start asking yourself, what kind of debts do I have? Are they good or are they bad? Because you need to understand that every time when you spend money that you don't have, you are stealing from your future. And a lot of time we steal. I don't know how much have you stolen from your future. Because if you are sitting on this call, you bought a car on credit, you bought fridge on credit, you bought a bed, you stole everything, you know. Very important that the question might be, why didn't you drive that car that you always had? Or why didn't you use the old fridge that you had until you've got enough money to buy the fridge cash, you know? So it's very important that you need to understand that every time you spend money that you don't have, you are stealing from the future. When you save money, you earn interest. People that understand the word interest, they earn it. Those who don't understand it, they pay it. I need to have more people that are earning interest instead of paying interest. Now make debt work for you. Don't work for your debt. Only take debt that you can afford. If you are in debt, use your debt to achieve your long-term goals, you know, like buying a property. It's an asset. It appreciates in value instead of depreciating. And I guess I'm talking to people that understand these terms, but at some point, they get to off-ramp and start doing things and forgetting that they need to stay on their lanes. Number 3, shop around for best interest rate. I live in Pretoria. In Pretoria, there's a place that is called Marabastad. That's where you find the Indians. Now, we need to learn 1 or 2 things from other nations. You know, when you get to Marabastad, they will say, my sister, you want this phone? This phone is 10,000 Rand, but because it's you, we love you, you're going to get it for 9.8. They give you 200 discount even before you ask. When they live in Lodium and they've got a shop, their kids, they come and work in the shop after school. They get to be taught how money is generated in the family. In our Black community, when I've got a shop, my kids, they will come and take sweets and they will say, "Ki shop ya mama." When mama dies, the shop dies. And in there's no money that follows the owner. The skills were never transferred. So it's very important that we need to learn from other nations as well. Because if we impart that knowledge, our kids will also get to know that they need to earn this money. Pay your credit card balance every month. If you are in debt, get out of it quickly. Very important. I'm not sure if the people that I have on the call, they know their credit profile. Very important that you need to know your credit score, because when you have an excellent score, you are able to negotiate the interest rate on your credit. But when you've got a poor score, the bank might not even finance you as well. And you also need to know how to improve your credit score. You know, when they say pay 700, when you pay more, you are also able to increase your score as well. You know, and again, if you know that you are not buying, you know, you are just window shopping, you are using your eyes to shop. Don't shop with your ID, because when they say, let's check if you qualify, and you give them your ID and then they check your profile and you don't buy, you need to understand that they drop your score. So every time when they check your profile, they drop your score. Let it rather be you checking your profile as well, because when they do that, they drop your score. So whenever you are owing, when they say the installment is 700 Rand, don't pay 799. 1 Rand short, it affects your profile as well. So very important that you need to know how to improve your score as well and be on the lookout. And how can you access your credit profile? You can get it on TransUnion, My Experian, Credit Check, and I think Clear Score as well. Within Old Mutual as well, we are able, when you have registered yourself on the rewards as well, you are able to access your credit profile as well. So if I've got people on the call who have never seen their credit profile, please go and check yourself so that you know what your score is looking like, so that it does not become a surprise whenever you want to buy a car that you don't qualify. When you are buying a car, some of the things that you also need to consider, these are some of the tricks. When they say balloon payment, residual, you need to understand such terms as well. Get to read and understand what is the contract saying. You all need to understand that a car is a liability. Once you drive out of the showroom with that car, it's 20,000 less, So whenever sometimes you find people saying, I'm going to take a personal loan and I will buy a car, at least it will be mine. But you need to understand that a personal loan charges more interest than a motor finance. So why not go for motor finance and be able to have an interest rate that is actually better than having to go for a personal loan? Because in any event, when you use a personal loan, it's not even your car. You bought it with money that wasn't yours. And the interest rate will also be higher. And when you cannot afford to pay that loan, anyway, the bank will still come after you, or whoever gave you that money will still be coming after you as well. So it's very important that we need to understand such terms that they use as well. Now, I also want to touch on the cost of credit when it comes to buying a property. You all know that the interest on the bond is calculated every day, right? So if you are buying a house and then the bank is loaning you 300,000, and then you only pay what the bank is asking you to pay, which is only 4,060 Rand, you need to know that after 20 years, it will mean that you actually paid 674 towards the interest. So it means this debt has cost you 674 to get it. Now, if you say, I'm still young, let me take it over 30 years, the longer it gets, yes, the installment may look cheaper, but you see the difference on that. It's only 150 Rand from 4,000 to 3.9. It's only 150 Rand. But have a look at the impact. You are actually paying 1.1 towards the interest. So if I've got ladies that are on this call, perhaps surprise your partner tonight and say, hubby, from now on, I am going to put 3,000 Rand towards the bond and assist you so that we can have this asset much more quicker in our name as well. You need to understand that the interest on the bond is calculated every day. And the value of your house is also determined by the last sold house in your area. If you live in Soshanguve and then you hit a jackpot, you change your house and you make it a double story. 2 years down the line, you want to sell it. If the last sold house in that area sold for 700,000, you are selling your house for 1.5 million. Even the bank will not finance that house. Hence, you will mind my language. They say, rather buy a shit house in a good area. So if you were to double your bond installment, the house will be paid off in less than 7 years. So this is just a trick to say, get to understand such things as well. And if you are buying a property, you decide that you are now going to do a joint bond because maybe you want to buy a property for 1 million, but your salary doesn't qualify you that amount. You go and take your girlfriend or boyfriend, you do a joint bond. You need to understand that when you get to the bank will never say, are you sure you're going to be together for 20 years? Because they will analyze you based on the salary scales that you have, and then they will then say, okay, you are qualifying. This is 1 million. Your name will have 500. Your partner will have 500. Now imagine if it's a girlfriend. When you separate, whenever you want to sell that house, you need to find that girlfriend because they are having a 500 on their name. Should you you know, imagine. So it's very important that you need to understand such implications of doing a joint bond with your partner or with your girlfriend or your brother, whoever you are joining with. Because if it's your brother, whenever your brother wants to buy their own house, they might not afford to get a loan because already they are joined with you as well. Very important that you need to understand such things as well. Like I spoke about, if you pay extra money on this bond, extra 150 rand only, you will actually be able to save 191,000 from the 20 years. So please, if you can, put more money into your bond so that you are able to charge it down quicker and be able to have an asset much more in your name as well. And then again, we've got what we call excess bond. You know, there are people that will have, and this can also be done if you've got an excess bond. Whenever you've got extra money, you are expecting your bonuses, you put it on the bond repayment as well. So it's very important that whenever you are applying for a bond, get to understand the type of bond that you'd want to take out as well. Now, I work for Old Mutual. I can have an access bond where I am able to put money in and take it out, right? Now, let me make an example. Today, we just got paid. I said the interest on the bond is calculated every day. If I were to move my salary, all of it, into my bond account on the 23rd, 24th, 5, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. You see, the 9 days while my salary is lying in that account, it has reduced my outstanding balance. So what happens? The interest that I get to be charged is not the same. So by just putting that money into the bond account and removing it on the 31st into my normal account so that my debit orders can go off. By just playing this yo-yo on a monthly basis, you are actually able to save a lot of money on interest. Very important that we need to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And how do we do that? We insure. Medical aid is about protection. The buffalo, we said they protect. Life insurance is about protection. So when you get married or if you are already married, tonight tell your wife or your husband, my husband, should I die, you'll get 3 million from my life cover. Should you also die, you'll get 3 million from the life cover. If you think your husband or your wife will kill you, then you need to understand that perhaps you married the wrong person. We need to be open enough to discuss issues around finances. Share with your partner as to what is happening around your finances. You know, like I said earlier on, currently we find a lot of people not opening up, families not discussing issues around finances. And then as a woman, I lose my husband, and then I come to Old Mutual to come and check if there's any policies. They say, ma'am, there's nothing here. I go next door, there's nothing. In that moment, he left me more debts, more kids, no money. So in that week, when a person is actually crying, they're actually crying on higher grade because they get to realize that this person has actually left them more problems. So it's very important that we need to discuss issues around finances. Have a will, get to know exactly what is happening, you know. Credit insurance. This is an insurance that we all got to realize how important it is during the lockdown. You know, the pandemic taught a lot of people how important it is to have credit life insurance because a lot of people lost their jobs. They were unable to pay their creditors. And if they had credit life insurance, they would be covered. So going forward, when you apply for any credit, please include credit life insurance on that credit. Another insurance that is also for protection is about personal insurance. You know, if you have lost your brother and something might happen to them, you know, you need to be able to have a protection that covers their funeral. Because if you are going to bury that loved one on a loan, you need to know, for as long as you are paying back the loan, you are still at your brother's funeral. So you'll only be saying, he is now resting in peace the day you pay the last installment. Very important that we need to know about different types of insurances that talks about protection, you know, long-term insurance and short-term insurance, you know, having to make sure that you are having all these protections in place. Short-term insurance, it might be like your car. Don't say I'm a good driver, you know, and on the road, anything is possible. If you don't protect that car, it gets to be involved in an accident. You might find yourself having a key, having to still continue paying a car that you don't have as well. So it's very important that you also need to make sure that you protect all the things, especially if you know that if you lose that item, you will not be able to replace it. Rather have a protection for that item. Retirement milestone. Ideally, we need to start saving for retirement at 25. I know this is the group of people that are saying people are dying. Who said I must worry about retirement? They hardly save for retirement. And then when they turn 40, they start realizing that it looks like they are going to live longer. And they even say life begins at 40. Ideally, at 40 years of age, for you to say, I will not become firstborn of my own kids, I will retire, right? You should have saved 4 times your annual salary. At 50, you must have 6 times. Just before you go on pension, you must have saved a minimum of 10 times your annual salary saved for retirement. If you are on this call and you don't know how much you have already saved, please go and check on your statements. That's when you will realize that it doesn't look good. And if it doesn't look good, what action are you taking to make sure that you actually work around that situation as well, so that you know that you have everything in place? I thought maybe lastly, let me bring the 2-pot retirement reform that has been in discussion. I guess this is what you probably get to know better. We all know that the 2 pots, it means if it comes into effect next year in March, currently you only have 1 pot. So if you are putting your pension fund, it's only currently in 1 pot. So if the government is saying if it's gonna go ahead, then it means people will have 2 pots, a small one and a big one. If the small one starts next year, it means it has nothing currently. So people cannot expect next year around March, when it comes into effect, they say, let me go and take 1/3 because now the law has agreed that we can take 1/3. Your pot will still be empty because you only had 1 pot. So you need to build up on that pot so that you are able to access. So people should not be misguided and thinking that when that law comes into effect, they will be able to have money, access to that money from that one big pot that they always had. Then it means you must understand that you will have your old money and your new money. So the new money will only be the one that is effective as in when it starts, meaning that if it starts next year accumulating, you will only be able to access it maybe in 2024, I guess in March as well. And how much will it be in that pot? So surely people need to be able to understand that as well. And that actually saying it covers everything that I actually wanted to say. But lastly, I said, let me bring the 2 outcomes to say, this is what we did. It's called All Mutual in Savings Investment Monitor. And from that savings investment monitor, 51% of the people that were surveyed, they said they've got one or more sources of income. So we call them polyjobbers. So we have seen people getting to realize that they need to have extra source of income. And then the 3 basic principles is to know how to make money, how to keep money, and how to grow money. And you need to consider adopting some of the emerging trends, right? And those trends are 66% of those people that were surveyed as well. They said they utilize the loyalty programs. Go and utilize your loyalty programs as well. 33% said they've switched from expensive supermarket to cheaper brands. 33% of the people, they said they realized that they can actually switch to cheaper TV streams as well. 30%, they actually went and cut down on domestic, which is not a good thing because it means a lot of people have lost their job on that as well. 28% of the people, they moved to cheaper cell phone or data options. We have seen 28% of the people giving up their subscription on gym as well. And lastly, we have seen 9% of the people that have actually moved their kids to less expensive schools as well. So in your case, go and see which of these trends can actually work for you, because clearly we need to start checking what is it that we can do differently when it comes to our finances. You guys are experts in what you are doing. You are not an expert when it comes to finances. You do need a financial advisor throughout your working career so that you are also informed. And lastly, I said you need to make sure that you have a will in place, and whenever there's a change in your life, you update. So that covers everything that I wanted to say this afternoon. You can actually follow us on Facebook or on Twitter. We run these sessions at no cost because we believe that the more people we can actually talk to, we can actually save a nation. And that covers everything that I wanted to say this afternoon. And I will then be taking questions if there are people that would want to ask any questions.
Thank you so much, Julian. That was a mouthful. In actual fact, I just need a glass of water, to be honest. It was so interesting that I couldn't even move. But colleagues, we may take a few questions. I'm tempted to extend this session with the next 5 minutes because, you gave us more insightful information and we understand that the session should be ending at 30:30, but just a little bit of 5 minutes because I think these are very important information that we have to take up. While we're waiting let me check the hands. All right. In the interim, I would like to find out then from your side, what do we do when it comes to sales, right? Because now Woolworths says 33% and then 50%. There's this crazy sale that you did not even budget for. It's 70% sale, or maybe you even have an extra cash that you can utilize for that sale. But the question is it like what factors should we consider when we have to buy during sales?
But again, the first question is when they are advertising that item and it's 70% on sale. The question is, do you want the item or do you need the item? Because how many of us have found ourselves going at the shops with the intention of saying, I'm just going to buy one or two things. The next thing you are holding plastics and just because it was a sale. If you are now saying, I'm buying it because I do have money, I had it, I didn't want to buy it at that time because it was expensive. There are people that are very strategic. They know these things when it's summer, it enters summer, they've got kids, and the kids are 3 and 7, and they know winter, perhaps next year, you might need this item as well. Now, when you wait for winter to be winter sale, when you buy it, you buy a bigger item for that child so that next year it fits. I don't know if it works, but there are people that are very strategic as well to say, you know what, I only buy these items. I don't buy my kids' clothes in December myself as well. I wait for January when I know things are now going on a spree because I knew in December I wasn't going to be buying because strategically I don't buy. I wait for those sales because it's never too late. These kids, they will still have these things. So we need to be very strategic as well. Even buying meat, you need to understand that meat when it's month end, the kilos, they increase the price as well. So be very strategic as to when are you going to be buying the meat. Don't go to the shops when everyone is also going, because sometimes we even see them saying, buy one, get one free, buy two for the price. When you do your maths, you realize that actually it's 3 rand more. So take care of your cents. Your rents will take care of themselves. Every little cent counts. Rather allow them to call you very stingy, but you know very well that you count every little cent that you have. And I'm believing that the people at the Gtac, they should actually be counting every little cent. Because when you are 10 cents shopped, they will never say take it. So why?
In actual fact, sorry to cut you, but we even I guess we have our spending reviews that are done for other government departments and entities. So I guess then it's a call for individuals who are on this call to go back and do their individual spending reviews. And I would like to believe that this presentation was cut short within the interest of time, but I would like to request that, or just to indicate that I think this session is quite important, and we most probably then have to bring a second session of this nature, maybe probably in the next month, because we have other set, other topics or themes that are set for the next 4 weeks. But since, I don't see any hand, let me extend my gratitude as well on behalf of the Gtac management to yourself and Alfred from the Health First, also to indicate that, this is more helpful, whether you are financially disciplined or not. I guess, as we promote accountability in terms of the PFMA, we need to go back again, then we account to ourselves as well in terms of our personal finances. Colleagues, having said that, this session will also be available on record, and don't forget to follow us on our YouTube channel, our Twitter and LinkedIn. The presentation will be also shared within the Gtac community and the National Treasury. Having said that, colleagues, Thank you so much. And also thank you, Julian and Alfred, once more. And enjoy your Heritage Day celebration weekend.
Thank you so much, Sulufelo. Please encourage them to do the feedback for myself as well. That is the only way that I can actually give the report back. I've posted the link on the chats. Please, can I request that the 21 people that attended, please make sure that you submit the feedback. My name on the list of facilitators is Julian Mangaba. Thank you.
All right. What I will also do, when I send out an invitation for next week's theme, I will add your link on next week's theme invitation so that those who have left the session already, they can be able to do the evaluation as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, colleagues. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.